Hey there, Sportsline on your television. Steve Layman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Monday night on News Channel 5 Plus, the day after the Super Bowl. The Eagles returning back to Philadelphia today. Super Bowl champions for the first time ever. A 41-33 victory over the New England Patriots last night. They deny Tom Brady and Bill Belichick their 6th Super Bowl title. No way to describe this other than an upset. People did not expect Philadelphia to win this game, especially when you consider that Nick Foles was their starting quarterback. He had to step in for Carson Wentz when he went down during the course of the season. He was brilliant in the playoffs, however. 971 yards passing, 6 touchdowns. He even caught a touchdown pass yesterday. The Eagles' offense was absolutely fantastic. Kudos to Doug Peterson for doing it with a backup quarterback. He did not change his game plan much. He stayed very aggressive. He had full confidence and belief in Foles, and Foles made that pay off because the Eagles looked really, really good in the playoffs. The offense was absolutely fantastic the last 2 weeks, winning the NFC Championship over Minnesota, a team with a great defense. And then, frankly, the Patriots just could not stop them yesterday in the Super Bowl. So all credit to Peterson, all credit to Foles and the Eagles for winning what was just a fantastic football game. I don't care who you were cheering for, unless you were a Patriots fan and just disappointed about the outcome because your team lost. If you're at all a football fan or a sports fan and you turned into that game yesterday, I don't know how you could have then turned away and been disappointed with the time you invested. It was just a fantastic game right from the start. Both teams came out sharp offensively. They had good game plans. You put up points in the first quarter, and it just continued to go. Unless you are maybe a special teams purist upset over some of the botched kicking issues. I don't know what to complain about in the game. Even the officiating, which oftentimes you can be really frustrated by, especially in the NFL. I thought it was a cleanly officiated game. Couple of replays in there that people wondered about on the catches. I thought they finally got the catch rule right even. Roger Goodell talked about it last week, that he said, we have to address this as a game because people want to see catches. Where there were 2 instances yesterday where you go to replay to see if it's a catch or not. And in both cases, you look at it with your naked eye at live speed, and you think that's a catch. And then you go back to the replay, and because we're trained to this now, in this day and age in the NFL, that it goes to replay, you start looking, well, did the ball move at all? Did he maybe not have complete control or possession of it? Where are all the feet? Did a knee come down? All of that stuff, because we're taught now to look for anything that disqualifies it from being the great play we believe it to be. That's what we all did. But you know what? They looked like catches. There wasn't a ton of evidence to disprove what it looked like. And so they stood. The Zach Ertz play, if it wasn't for the Jesse James play for the Steelers earlier this year, when he caught the ball, had his knee down, reached across for the goal line, broke the play, and then as he hit the ground, the ball comes loose. If that play never happened, and that was never ruled incomplete, as opposed to what I think should have been a touchdown, we don't think the same stuff about the Zach Ertz catch that ultimately won the game last night. But that's just where you're conditioned in football right now. Meanwhile, the play with Corey Clement in the first half, that's a play that I think you can make an argument that it was incomplete. But the only reason I think you make that argument now is because we've been conditioned over the last several years that if the ball moves at all, that may not be possession. And if it's not possession, can't be a catch, right? Well, to me, that looked like the process of the catch. You catch it with 2 hands over the shoulder, you have to tuck it in. It's almost impossible for the ball not to move somewhat there. But we've gotten to the point where we're taking away catches for that part of it. That, to me, was a catch. He controlled it. Once it got into his body, he controlled it all the way into the ground and into rolling into the photography row. It's hard to have a whole lot more possession than what he had. But in the past, you look for things like that. So I thought they got the replays right as well. I just thought it was a well-played, well-officiated game. I thought Pink was phenomenal through the flu pregame with the national anthem. I thought Justin Timberlake was pretty good. It wasn't an all-time great Super Bowl halftime show, but I thought it was pretty good. Certainly a great performer. Some of the things he did and how far he moved and the dancing and all that you throw into it. Not a lot of people on this earth can do that, and he did it with ease yesterday. You can squabble over the choices of what he did. Maybe not quite all the hits that some people would like from a JT performance, and that's fair. But I think there's no doubt how talented he is and what an amazing show that was to put on that he did yesterday. So a pretty fun Super Bowl Sunday, I would say. We'd love to get your thoughts tonight on just that, though. 737-7767, the number. What did you think about the game and what you saw? What the Eagles did yesterday to win their first Super Bowl title? What maybe the Patriots didn't do to not get their sixth with Belichick and Brady? And then anything else that stood out to you about the game, the pomp and circumstance around it, or whatever caught your eye yesterday. What is interesting about the game, as great as it was, it did not curtail the trend, and it's got to be an alarming trend for the National Football League, that ratings are down. People are paying attention to their game less than they were a few years ago. And we've talked a lot, and a lot of people have discussed it as much as we have on this program about some of the reasons for that. Cord cutting, national anthem protests, other political measures that go out there. Maybe the game isn't played at quite the level you once thought it was. Maybe the talk about the safety of the game and the head traumas bothers people to watch the game these days. I think all of that plays in to some degree. But the bottom line for the NFL is people are turning away from their game compared to the record numbers they were watching just a short time ago. And that's an issue for a league, and that's an issue for sponsors if it continues. And so yesterday you had one of the great Super Bowls, one of the great championship games we've ever had. I mean, think about it. It came down to the final play. The Patriots still had a chance to tie that game and go to overtime if they get that Hail Mary on the final play. And it's right there. I mean, Gronk's at the goal line. We've seen crazier things happen. Almost could have gone to overtime for the second consecutive year in the Super Bowl. But here's the thing. A year ago, the Patriots were dreadful in the first half. That was all Atlanta in the first half. It was 28-3, and then it was all New England, especially in the fourth quarter, to come back and force overtime. So there was some drama late as the rally kept going, and there was certainly drama in OT. But that wasn't a great classic game last year. This was a great game from the jump. Two teams going back and forth, switch leads in the fourth quarter. The game-winning score comes with just over 2 minutes to play. The Patriots even get the ball back a couple of times in the final 2 minutes with a chance to tie the game, win the game the first time, tie the game the second time. There was a lot of drama, and it was well played. But yet, the ratings were down. Nationally, they were down. And here in Nashville, lowest Super Bowl rating since Super Bowl 40. So 12 years and down basically 12% from last year's game. So now we're not just talking about a few years there. We're talking about in the city of Nashville, 1 year apart. Down 12%. It was a better game. It was a better game overall. If you have an idea of why that might be to you, if you didn't watch the game, please call us up and tell us why. 737-7767, the number. Patriots fatigue, perhaps. Looking for a third title in 4 years. It seems like they've been there more times than not since the year 2000. Are people just wearing thin of that? the political nature, the style of play in the NFL. What are the reasons that people did not watch that game in the numbers you expect for a Super Bowl, especially a Super Bowl with that level of drama that plays out the way it did? A lot of thoughts out there. But it was a great game. It was a great game, and there is no question about that. All right, we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from some of the principal parties of yesterday's game. The heroes, Doug Peterson, second-year coach in Philadelphia. He wins a Super Bowl, brings the Lombardi Trophy home to Philadelphia, and he does it with a backup quarterback in Nick Foles. We'll hear from those guys, plus much more. We'll continue talking this game and your phone calls as well. 737-7767, the number. Bank of phone lines wide open, so give us a call and be a part of the show tonight. You're watching Sportsline right here on News Channel 5 Plus.